Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. We'll get started in just a few seconds while people trickle in. But while everyone's loading up, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Maddie. I'm the Global Education Advisor for Ohio and Michigan schools. I've been with CIEE for about 4 years now and chaperoned a bunch of programs. I did not get to chaperone our trip to Shanghai, but I did study abroad in Beijing when I was in high school. So I'm very excited to talk about our Mandarin programs in China and in, I believe, Taipei as well. We should have some representatives of that program tonight. But yeah, we'll just be talking about what it's like learning Chinese or Mandarin, what it's like to be on those programs, any unique experiences, probably some visa related questions, as that's always a hot button issue. But yeah, really excited to be here, excited to hear from our alumni. We're also going to be joined by Laura, who's helping run the tech and everything. So thanks for being here, Laura. And ambassadors and alumni that have joined. How about you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and then we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Mila. I'm a sophomore in high school, and this past summer I studied abroad in Taipei.
Thanks, Mila.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanna. I'm a sophomore as well. And this summer I study abroad in Taipei.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Winnie. I'm a current junior, and last summer I went to Shanghai, China.
Hi
Awesome.
everyone.
Yeah,
I'm
last one.
Shintong. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Shintong. I'm a senior in high school this year, and I study abroad in Shanghai, China this past summer. Excited to be here today. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Yeah, we're super excited to have some alumni on the panel. I think it's always helpful when deciding which programs are best for you and what experience you want out of the summer to hear from people who have actually done the programs that you're interested in. So feel free to ask questions. We'll have time for a Q&A at the end of the webinar, but at the end, I mean like the second half is going to be a Q&A session. So we'll just do a brief presentation at the beginning just to tell you guys a little bit about CIEE and our programs, what you're getting into. And then tonight we'll just focus on the experience of our alumni. All right, so I think everybody's here. We're going to jump right in with a little background about CIEE. So a lot of people don't know this, but CIEE stands for the Council on International Educational Exchange. It's a mouthful, so that's why we abbreviate it. But we've been doing this and running programs for 78 years now. We were founded right after World War II. And we've been sending students, particularly young students, abroad for a long, long time at this point. Our high school programs are a bit newer, so we're really trying to change what people think of when they think of study abroad. We want that to be something for young people of all walks of life. We really do see the value in using the power of young people to build bridges across cultures. So thank you for being here. It means that you're buying into that mission, right? That study abroad and travel is such an important part of being a person and sharing culture. So we're really excited with that. And we're really happy to award scholarships and make this an equitable opportunity for everybody. Some other details about CIEE. We are the oldest and largest nonprofit organization for study abroad in the US and one of the oldest and largest ones in the world. We do administer the largest scholarship fund for US high school students. Not to brag, but we do love giving away money and we love awarding scholarships to students who really work hard and show that they want to go abroad and that they're going to have an amazing summer. So if you're thinking about scholarships and thinking about studying abroad and cost is a major factor, just know that we have support for that. And just to give you guys an idea of how many students we do support, across all programs, we send about 40,000 students abroad and domestically in the US every single year. So we're very reputable. We have an incredible worldwide organization team. All of our sites that I'll get into in a minute are permanent sites. So we really do have like the greatest infrastructure for safety and logistics to make your summer experience really smooth. So yeah, jumping into some other locations that you guys can go to. I know this will be mostly about our Mandarin programs in Shanghai and Taipei, but if you're also thinking about other spots that you might want to go this summer, this is just a great visual to show you all the cool places where you can go. We did open up a few new sites this year that I'd like to highlight, which is Auckland, New Zealand. We also have a new program in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is really cool. That opens up some more like passport situations for students who just have a travel card within the US. And we also just opened up Athens, Greece, and a brand new location is Nice, France. So if you're looking to do some French and want to be on the coast, that's a really cool spot too. We haven't yet added it to this map here, but that just shows you how new it is. So yeah, we do have over 100 programs in 40 different cities around the world. So there truly is something for everybody. So yeah, you can see all the cool places you can go. We do have the Chinese Mandarin programs in Taipei and in China mainland. So you guys can hear more about alumni, like the differences between the two types. But those are the spots where we offer this language. And then just some background details about why I personally think study abroad is really life-changing and what you can get out of our programs. Like I said earlier, my first time ever out of the US was on a study abroad program in high school. I was 16 and I spent about 2 weeks in Beijing with my high school marching band, actually. So kind of an unorthodox trip, but truly changed my life. I felt like I could do anything after I went to China as a 16-year-old. So I'm really hoping you guys get that out of these programs as well. I did have a ton of fun. I made a lot of friends, even people that I hadn't really gotten to know that were just, down the street from me. We connected in really incredible ways that last a lifetime while you're abroad. So you'll get to meet other people from all over the US and from all over the world. I think this program, especially being a language program, is special because you get to have a little more immersion than some other programs. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I think the coolest thing about our programs is how it prepares you for the future. So not only will you have a ton of fun and make new friends, but you'll also get college credits if you opt into that. You'll be part of the 2% of high school students that study abroad before going to college. So you'll really stand out on college applications. Not to mention, your experience being abroad will give you lots to write about when you are doing your college essays or applying for jobs. We've heard so many stories from CIEE alumni that say learning a second language gave them tons of job opportunities or quicker promotions or helped them like get that extra interview or edge out another person that might not be bilingual. So this is a really great way to stand out as a dual language learner. Plus, you get to have really incredible networking. So you'll get to meet people who run things in the community who you might want to call back to later when you're applying for jobs or thinking about where to go to college. So that's sort of my favorite thing to come out of the programs is how it prepares you for whatever future career or college that you want to go into, not to mention giving you all of your independence and mental fortitude skills so you can really like tackle any challenge. I know I felt really amazing after going to China and felt like there was nothing I couldn't do. I'm sure we'll hear similar things from the alumni, but just wanted to highlight some of the amazing outcomes from studying abroad at a young age. Parents, you are absolutely making the right decision for your student. This is a great way to spend their summer. So, just a little background info on the language programs that we'll be talking about. These are all the languages that you can study. We're going to be talking about Mandarin or Chinese tonight. On these programs, the important thing to know is that they're a little different from topic-based programs. The topic-based programs are shorter. They'll be about 3 weeks, whereas these language ones are 4 weeks. So it's a little more time abroad. You'll also be with a host family. And this is a great way to, get even more localized and individual experiences in the culture. So it's nice to come home to like a nice warm meal after a long day out, get to talk to your host family about what you've been learning that day, maybe watch some TV with your host sibling or play some games that they like. So it's a great way to immerse yourself. Plus, the language growth that you see on these programs is truly incredible. We see about 1 month, 4 weeks on a CIEE program is equivalent to about a year of traditional classroom learning. I'm sure your language teachers would love to have you 24/7 for 4 weeks instead of just 45 minutes every few days in class. So it's a really great way to explode your language growth. And then, like I mentioned, you can also opt in for 4 college credit hours, and you can earn the global seal of biliteracy. So that's just a little peek into the language programs. We do also have topic-based programs. They're in some other locations as well. We do have some in Taipei, but tonight we're just going to be focusing on language. So real quick before we turn it over to the alumni, like I said, it'd be quick. My spiel will be quick, and then we'll give it over to them to do some Q&A and talk about their experience. These are just some important deadlines to write down and keep in your back pocket so you don't miss out on going somewhere really cool, hopefully somewhere in China or Taipei this summer. Right now, if you don't need a scholarship, you can save your spot on the program right now. They do tend to fill up pretty quickly, especially because we only have 2 Chinese Mandarin language programs for the summer. So your options are Taipei and Shanghai. So if you're really sure that you want to go and learn Mandarin abroad, make sure that you save your spot sooner rather than later. We're also offering an early decision deadline on December 1st. So that is the Monday after Thanksgiving break. So make sure while you're stuffing yourself full of turkey and mashed potatoes and all that good stuff, you spend some time on your application. That way you can submit it by that December 1st deadline. You'll be entered into a raffle to win a free flight for your trip, which is especially great because flights to China can get pretty pricey. And then you'll also be considered for our early round of decisions. So if your application really stands out, then you can save your spot earlier. If you need some extra time to work on your essays or teacher recommendation or just finalize your last 3 program choices, whatever you need to do, the very last day that you can apply for our scholarships is January 21st. And that's a Wednesday. So make sure you mark that off on your calendars. Once you apply by that deadline, then you'll hear in February which one of your top 3 program choices you were accepted into, and at the same time, how much scholarship money you were awarded. The best part about CIEE, when you're working on your application, you'll be paired with an advisor. That's someone like me or Laura who will help you through the application process. Make sure you have all the documents and essays look good, everything that you need to apply. So don't worry about memorizing every component of the application. Just open that application, get started on it, and we are here to help. But yeah, just wanted to lay the groundwork for some CIEE details. Now we can dive into the alumni experience and what it's like to be in Shanghai. So write these dates down if you don't have them saved, and we're going to swap over and hand it over to the alumni. So go ahead and take it away. Tell us about your summer.
Hi. So I mentioned this past summer I went to Shanghai and I got to stay with a wonderful host family and also had a roommate. And this is just some pictures I had from my trips. So the first is like my first dinner at my host family. So every night you'll get to eat. Your host family will prepare dinner for you. They will prepare breakfast for you as well. Um, and during the weekends, they also took me out to eat, and I got to eat some soup dumplings, which are like a classic of Shanghai. And during the school day, I got to study at a actual Chinese like university campus, which is called the ECNU, East China Normal University. Um, and there I made a lot of friends, and you can see like the big class photo I have with everyone there. Um, and that happened for me in the morning with the Chinese classes. And in the afternoon, I got to visit many like cultural sites with CIEE. Like they brought us to many different cultural sites and got and I got to learn about like the Chinese traditions there. Like one time we went to the Bund, which is a really famous in Shanghai, and also Nanjing Lu, and Chinese dragon dancing. Sorry, yeah, lion dancing, dragon dancing, and got to do pottery. And yeah, it was a really wonderful time. And in the corner in the right, you can see kind of like me and my roommate playing, learning to play mahjong from my when my mom was teaching me. But yeah, this is just a little like snippet of what my Shanghai journey was like. Maybe next slide, please. And in the program, you'll also get like a overnight trip with the language programs. For me in Shanghai, I went to a nearby like city called Wuxi, which is like an ancient like Chinese water town. There, we got to dressed up. I got to dress up in hanfus, which are like traditional Chinese um, clothing, and went to visit like their different like sites and sceneries. Also ate a lot of good food. Yeah, overall it was a wonderful experience. On yeah, I also got so on one of the weekends it was the overnight trip, but the other weekends usually your host family would take you out, and for me my host family just took me out to eat like a different lots of stuff and like visited a lot of like places only locals know. But yeah, and I guess to finish it off, you can also scan this QR code for $200 off the CIE program you choose. So yeah, just kind of like a alumni referral benefit. But yeah, thank you, and yeah, I'll answer any Q&As at the end. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. All right, on to our next alumnus.
Okay, yeah. Hi, everyone. I also went to the Shanghai program with Xingtong, so I'm pretty much just adding on what she said before. So I'll just add more details, I guess. So, for like a typical like weekday, we usually have class from 9 to 11 a.m. where we basically learn, yeah, new vocabulary and also new grammar structure. Each week, there's like 4 weeks in total. So each week was like a different topic. And my favorite week was week 2 when we were learning about surveys. We like also got to like make our own surveys through a specific app on like WeChat, and during lunch we were able to just like pass around the survey and just see oh yeah, the survey was about like if you like a like if you American like Chinese food, um or like authentic like Chinese food. So yeah, we basically collected a lot of surveys and we just analyze it and make a slideshow at the end of the week, which is on Friday. And it was pretty fun. And it's not a lot of like homework or anything. As long as you just make your slides in time, you should be able to pass the class and get your um get your good grades. And yeah, there's also afternoon activities like what Singtong said. We also it's kind of mandated, but they're all really fun. So for example, there were times where we learned about the Chinese opera. We also tried out the different teas at the tea ceremonies. And yeah, at the weekends we get to hang out with our homestay family. On one weekend, me and my homestay family went to like another specific like city from near China, where yeah, we just get to do different activities as a homestay family, so that really connected our bonds together. And yeah, next slide, please.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I don't have much to really add on, but I will say that I made a lot of new friends, even though they are from different states in America. We still connected to social media, and I'm also connected with my Shanghai's family from through WeChat. So you guys can sign up through my QR code, and I'll take questions at the end. Thank you.
Perfect. I love all of these photos. You guys did a great job so far. Yeah. All right. Next alumnus.
Hi guys, my name is Joanna, and over the summer I studied abroad in Taipei, Taiwan with CIE's Chinese Language and Culture program. And in the first row, you can see that we were visiting a Taiwanese high school that was not too far from the university that we were studying at. And it was just really fun, like interacting with Taiwanese kids your age and like seeing what their school looks like. Yeah, their school is really, really beautiful. And it was really fun making local Taiwanese friends. And in the second row, it was our first week of classes where we were like trying to get to know one another. And on the last picture, we were trying out local Taiwanese snacks. And in the last row, the first photo is when we were visiting Taipei 101, which is the most iconic building in Taiwan, and it's also the tallest one as well. And we also saw some traditional Taiwanese dance, which was really cool. And the last photo of the third row, it was our overnight trip during our third week, where we went to Tainan, which is in the middle of Taiwan. And we also watched a traditional Taiwanese dance there. And we got to like ride roller coasters and stay at a hotel and went on a boat ride to Samu Lake. And the photo on the background was when we first arrived to Taiwan, and it was really cool just getting to know one another there. Because like I was on the group flight, so I got to met a lot of new people. I strongly recommend you guys book the group flights because you get to meet a lot of people before the program even starts. Next slide. Um, so the first picture of the um second slide, me and my friends, we were at karaoke, which is a really famous um and popular like thing to do during your free time in Taiwan. And we also visited Jiufen and Sifen, which was which we released our sky lanterns, so that was really fun. And um the the second row, it was with my host family. My host family took us to go hiking during the night in Elephant Mountain, and it was just really, really beautiful. And during host family weekend, my host family um went to took me and my roommate. We went to a hair salon and we dyed our hair together because um in Taiwanese culture it's pretty common to dye your hair and it was just really really fun. Um and we also did pottery during another host family weekend. Um yeah, so I strongly recommend you guys go. I was really nervous about host families because at first I would rather live in a hotel instead of a host family. But my host family were one of the reason why I really, really um enjoyed my trip because after a really long day at and long and fun day, um you can return home and you still have another group of people to talk to end your day, which is really nice. Next slide, please.
I have to ask, where
Oh,
are the cats from in the bottom
oh,
right?
oh yeah, I forgot about them. These are my host family's cat. They have two. Um, one of them is named Molly and the other one is named Masu. And I love cats. And I was so happy when CIE sent me my host family email and they had two cats. So I was really excited about that.
They're cute. I was wondering if you went to like a cat cafe or something like that,
Oh,
but
yes, I
yeah,
did.
that too.
Uh, yes. I went to a cat cafe with my friend and um and a bird cafe as well. If you like animals, then you should definitely go to Taiwan because they have so much animal cafes there.
Cute.
And
Love it.
usually, um, I think for the cat cafe and the bird cafe, there's no fee that you have to pay. You just have to spend 200 NTD, which is only $6. And yeah, you could just play with the animals.
Fun. Okay, cool. All right, next slide
Uh,
then.
okay, so if you guys are interested, you guys can open an application today um with my QR code. Yeah.
Perfect. And I think we have one left.
So, hi everyone. Like I said earlier, my name is Mila, and I did Chinese language and Taiwanese culture in Taipei. And just to start off, I had a amazing experience. I made a ton of friends who I'm still in touch with today. I actually saw one of them a week ago. And I tried a ton of amazing food. That was actually probably the highlight of my experience, was all the food I had. I also grew my Chinese skills a lot, but I think the thing I'm most proud of, that I learned the most was I became a lot more independent, specifically like street smart, and I also like became better at like just like going up and talking to people, which I'm like really proud of. Some things I really want to highlight about my experience include my host family. So they were amazing and like just super kind people. My host mom made us home cooked food every day for breakfast and dinner, and she's a great cook, like, oh my gosh. I, like, tried to replicate some of her recipes at home, and I could not measure up, but, it was really great food, and they were just, like it was so great to bond with them over family dinner every night and, like, playing fun games after dinner and just getting to talk to them about my day. And then they also took me on some, like, really fun, like, family day trips, like, during the weekend. So, they showed us amazing local parts of Taipei, like, the best, like, traditional shaved ice spots. So there's a photo of me right in the middle there of me and my host family having shave ice. It was really good. 10 out of 10 recommend. But I think the coolest thing that I've ever done, like, ever, along with the coolest thing I did on this trip, was they took me paddleboarding and snorkeling on an island just off Taipei. So there's a photo down there of me with the paddleboard and my family. But it was incredible because I got to see these amazing coral reefs and all these cool animals. I ate a fresh, like, sea urchin that we harvested, and I just got to, like it was, like, the coolest thing ever. And that was so cool because that's, like, their, like, daily weekend activity, their, like, Saturday activity, and they just, like I got to see, like, a little slice of their life, which was, like, the coolest part of studying abroad, in my opinion. Um, so then going into school, I really loved my teacher, and I felt like the classes were super immersive and interactive. I felt really engaged in class, and it was like a 3-hour long class, which kind of like feels like a little long to me. But I always felt like super like immersed and engaged, and I really felt like I was like learning a lot because the teacher was very like question and answer, and class was like in Chinese, so it was like that like language immersion like 24/7. Also, I thought working on the end of the week projects was super fun. So, you can kind of see here, like Tianchi, like we did a little weather project where we did like a weather video analyzing like the weather of Taiwan after our unit, and I thought that was really fun. So I just included a photo on there, my slideshow. But I think the coolest part of school was like how it connected to the activities we were doing outside of school. So we'd have class one day and we would like learn about a topic. And then we'd have these like questions. So we'd go and we would interview like a local member of the community. So in the bottom left corner of my slideshow, like I actually have one of the photos I took with like this nice like grandma in the community who we interviewed. And it was so cool to just be able to talk to these locals. And then after that, we would do these like fun activities. And I have those over on like the right side of the slideshow. We got to go to the National Palace Museum. We got to do like ribbon dancing and learn like traditional ribbon dancing. We got to make a ton of traditional Taiwanese food like pineapple cakes and xiaolong bao, and we got to do hand pulled noodles, and then we got to eat all of it, which was like the best part. And we also got to like launch like traditional red lanterns with like our wishes written on them. And one of the really cool things that we did that I think Joanna mentioned earlier was we got to meet local Taiwanese high school students. So there's a photo kind of in the top right corner of me with my Taiwanese bestie. So it's so cool to like hear about their experiences and how their lives are so different from theirs, even though they're like the same age as us, just on the other side of the world. Could you go to the next slide, please? So addressing free time, we got a ton of free time in my opinion at least. We had basically an hour every day, like after activities, and on Fridays we had a free afternoon from 12 to 9. So during this time, I got to explore a lot of the parts of Taiwan that we didn't like go with the program. So some of the coolest stuff I did were go hiking on Elephant Mountain with my friend. Actually, there's like a photo on the last slide. You don't have to go back, but it's like of Taiwan, and I actually took it from Elephant Mountain because there's these gorgeous views, and it's just like this like green oasis that's like you can get there on the metro. So it's really cool to see that. And there's great views of Taiwan. Also, I went to Ufenpu, which is this like outdoor wholesale bulk shopping complex, which was so cool because I love shopping, but also because I got to like use the bargaining skills, which I had actually learned in class that week. And I got to like use them with like real vendors in like a non-class setting, which was just like so much fun. And I got the price down, guys. Really proud of that. And then, but like the absolute top thing I did, which all this photos above, is I went to night markets. And night markets in Taiwan are like the most incredible thing ever. It was amazing. The food I ate was so good. I went there like kind of every night before my host mom's dinner, double meals. But it was the food was incredible, and it just like was the most probably immersive part of the trip because it was like all the culture was surrounding you. There was the smells, the sounds, the like tastes, and it was just like so great. And the best food I ate was definitely right in the center. There are these black pepper buns, and they are amazing, 10 out of 10 at Rauho Street Market, and they're so good. So yeah, it was just generally a great experience, and I hope you guys can also do something like it because it's truly incredible and amazing, and you get to eat really good food. And if you want to do that, there is a $200 off QR code that you can scan. But yeah,
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You did a great job with all of these photos. I want to go. My trip to Beijing was a lot different than these. We were in like spring break, so it was kind of rainy and we weren't there for very long. I want to go in the summer when we can go like check out all the, especially the food. The food looks really good on everyone's slide. So yeah, thank you all for sharing. That brings us to the Q&A portion, which has already been popping off in the Q&A chat. So thank you everyone for being engaged and asking questions. Um, Alumni, I will turn it over to you with, I guess, like a prompt to get started with. Speaking with language learning, since we have a lot of questions about that, how do you feel your language levels were grown over the course of the trip, and what do you think contributed most to that?
I feel like for me, um, during the program, I was in Chinese 3 of the program. That was the highest level there was. And it definitely grew by a lot. I think I did the stamp test and it like showed how much I improved. So and I feel like the biggest part was the daily interactions with the local people. So some people mentioned already there was like a community kind of conversation kind of assignment every day where I would get to interview like local people around the community, like talk to them, about like Chinese cuisine or like opening restaurants or like a lot of topics. And during those conversations, I really got to kind of like learn more different like phrases and like kind of grammar, and I also had to write a summary in Chinese, so that was kind of improved my writing skill a lot, and typing skills. So yeah, I think that was definitely the biggest part, like that I believe like helped me improve.
Cool. And I think we have more questions coming in. So I'll be quiet for a good bit, but just before we swap off of this slide, wanted to plug the other events that we're having this week with the virtual fair. You can scan that QR code and go to our website to find the full list of schedule. We go over all topics like application help and essays for scholarships or fundraising. We talk to some alumni in every single meeting. So they're really like the stars of the show. So if you would like to see what other sessions we're doing this week, go ahead and scan that code, or you can go to our website. CIEE.org/HSSA is the best way to start. And then you can click on Zoom webinars and things like that from there. But yeah, take a picture of this before before I turn it off, but I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen. That way we can see each other, um, and we can see you know, what questions we have a little bit easier in the chat. I think the one that would be a good one to talk about would be how would Taiwan be a little different from Shanghai? So hearing each other talk about your experiences, what do you think someone should look at differences between Taipei and between going to Shanghai?
I think that in Taiwan, like I noticed in the chat that someone asked about currency, and in Taiwan we mostly use cash, so it was really easy to use, and we just exchange money at the airport. For for Shanghai, you mostly use digital pay, so um, it might be a little bit more complicated.
Was like the tap to pay pretty common where you guys were?
Yes, in Shanghai, it was really common. Most of the people went by using it. It was kind of like complicated at first, but I feel like I got the hang of it because in the orientation, like people and like the CIE staff will also help you like try to set up like WeChat and also like Alipay and before the orientation, like before even going to the programs, there will also be like a Canvas kind of little like course that will teach you like like will tell you how to like install different like programs or apps to help your journey become a little easier. But yes, in Shanghai it's mainly digital, like you mainly use your phone to get by, but they do accept cash.
One thing that's a little different from like the cash credit thing, but for me, when I was deciding between whether to go to Shanghai or Taiwan, a big thing for me was at least kind of this is kind of like a touchy topic, but like the safety in terms of like the government and I guess getting a visa and stuff. And for me, it just like because of my personal situation, it wasn't possible to travel to China under the circumstances. So I chose to go to Taiwan and I'm very glad I did. But that's also definitely like one big difference you have to take into consideration.
To add
Cool.
on, if you choose to go to Taiwan, you actually don't need a visa. All you have to do is fill out a an arrival card online prior to you going there, and it was really easy filling that out.
Cool. And just to keep facilitating, someone did ask, can someone with no prior knowledge of the language be able to apply? And then, like, what does that mean with host families and the level of English that they might know? Just so everyone knows, you don't have to have any previous experience with the language to apply to any of our programs. You'll take a stamp test that tests your language ability beforehand. You can look it up online and take practice tests if you like. It's just STAMP. And then we'll place you into the level that fits the best. And we'll also assign host families accordingly. Most host families have at least a working knowledge of English, but um, alumni, what was it like speaking English or not with your host family? How did that go?
So personally, I'd only taken Chinese for about 2 years before I came to the program, and obviously I don't speak Chinese at home or anything, so I'd only taken it in classes. But my host father did actually go to college in the US, so he did speak fluent English, although my host sister and my host mom did not speak as good English. But I think that like mostly I we tried to speak to them like in Chinese. Although like I there were some, like, more in-depth discussions that required me to go to English about topics such as, like, solar panel energy efficiency, which is a topic I was asking my host father about and did not know how to communicate in Chinese. But I think also just going back to the idea that like, oh, people who've never learned the language before can go. My best friend on the program, she was in a host family with another kid from America who had never taken Chinese before, and they kind of grouped them together because she was more experienced at Chinese than her like sibling or her like host sibling, I guess. So they put them together so that they would be able to communicate with the family. And I think they like tried to do that with a lot of people.
If you see any questions you guys want to respond to in the Q&A, go for it.
Okay, I wanna answer the question about the should you let your bank know you're traveling to China before spending any money? For my case, I only just use WeChat because the WeChat itself has a like a built-in like little like payment thing you can use. Just like tap, just similar to a bank card. If you are planning on using your own bank about the whole traveling to a different country, then yeah, you should. But I would recommend like AliPay or WeChat because a lot of like stores will use that. But you still bring some currency just in case.
I also think this question was already kind of answered in the chat, but a bunch of people are asking about like are students placed into different classes if they test into different levels and just more about that. And I just want to share like obviously we already talked about like the pre-test and like also I think they put in the chat about how you have like an in-person interview with a member of the staff once you get there. My personal experience was that I'm not super good with tests. I have a lot of like testing anxiety, so I didn't perform the best I could. And I was also really like I had really bad jet lag when I was, like, testing when I first got there, so I was placed in a program that was, like, lower than what I thought was the right level for me. So they had, like, a week-long, like, exposure that you could, like, try the classes in the program level you were in, and then if you felt like it was either too easy or too hard, you could switch up or down, and I know a lot of people in my program did that. They chose to either switch up or down, and then at the end of the week, you get, like, put in the program that you're in, like, for the remainder of the program. But I think like that's just like something I wanted to note that like you aren't stuck in whatever program. Like if you have like a bad performance on a test day or whatever, like that's not like you can still like learn at whatever level like you want to. You can like choose the level of challenge you want.
Someone asked, was it hard to transition back to life back in America? And I will say for me it was because I miss my life in Taiwan a lot, and I miss like all my friends and like the experience I had there. But that just shows that you had a really, really fun time in Taiwan. And I feel like probably everyone when they come back from like CIE program, they will feel a bit sad because even though we're like happy to see all our friends and family back in America, but we also had a really fun time in Taiwan. But it just takes a bit of adjusting, and after a while, you'll get used to it.
And I noticed a lot of people in the chat also asked about like host family situation and if you don't get along with them. But yeah, like a lot, it kind of was answered already. But like, if you really can't, you can like ask the CIE staff, and they can help you switch. But before the trip, you will be asked like a housing questionnaire, and I think that's when you can put kind of a little bit about our preferences, like would you want a roommate? Are you okay with pets? And also like the different like dietary needs and different stuff. So to make sure that like they your host family can really like meet your needs in terms of those. Um, but yeah, some of the host family they know English, but it really depends on the situation. Like for me, my host mom was actually an English teacher, so she knew a lot of Chinese English. But we mainly still communicated in Chinese because it was like the language I was trying to learn. But yeah, it really depends on the host family situation.
I think there's a question I can answer and give you guys a bit of a break. Um, This is a question about sessions. Is it possible to do session 1 and session 2 with the programs and go between? It's you wouldn't be able to do like China session 1 and China session 2, but you'd be more than welcome to do China for one session and then Taipei for another session. A lot of students do decide to go for the whole summer and then they do multiple programs. So yeah, of course you can do that. Your scholarships only apply to once in a lifetime awards, though. So you can only get the Global Navigator Scholarship one time. Same thing with the Merit Award. So you won't be able to use that on two separate programs. Additionally, I would caution people against doing like the same program in different locations as long as they understand that the classes are probably going to be really similar. For example, we have some students who did Tokyo in session 1 last summer, and then they're doing the same Japanese language program in Kyoto for this year. Their Japanese has improved, so they're not going to be doing the same language level. And obviously, Kyoto and Tokyo are very different, so they'll get different experiences. But just something to think about, not doing like the same location and the same program multiple summers in a row, and certainly not back to back in one summer. The programs between session 1 and session 2 are pretty similar with the caveat of like different holidays that might be going on or different events and schedules, depending on when we can book things. So they're a little bit the same, but for the they're a little bit different, but for the vast majority of the program, they're quite similar. So just think about that when planning your summer. And then some more questions about host family screening, which I can answer. We do vet all of our host families very thoroughly, so they are quite safe. We do background checks or the local equivalent of a background check on everyone that's over 18 in the household. We go to the home to make sure everything is up to our standards and make sure that everything is ready for students. And host families are actually embedded in the academics of the program. So they're not just some person who's, providing room and board. As the alumni mentioned, they're people that take you on excursions and cook you meals, and you get to hang out with your host siblings, and they're part of the family. So we do a lot of background to make sure that they're really safe. The cool part is too that you get to meet them before you go abroad. You'll get their information usually about a week before departure, so you can schedule a Zoom call or email back and forth or use WhatsApp or WeChat and talk to people and get to know them before you get there. So a lot goes into making sure that our host families are really excellent. They come back year after year. So they love doing this. They're motivated by getting to meet awesome students. And, they really do vary. Some host families are a family of 6 with lots of kids, and you get to be like a big sister, big brother, sibling for them. Other times it's just like a little old lady whose kids are all grown up and they just want to have some fun and life back in the house. So it's really a cool slice of life. Look at, wherever you're going.
Yeah, just adding on to that, like my host family, they had been hosting for the past like 2 years, full year students, other summer session students, and their son was also studying abroad, I think through CIE in Canada at the time. So it's like a little transfer. So they're like a really like engaged family. I also there was a question about, do you recommend having a roommate, that I kind of wanted to talk about. Um, that is something I actually thought a lot about. I guess after the program, I had a roommate and I kinda had mixed feelings about it, because on one hand, it was nice to have someone who I could commute with and someone who could, like, understand, I guess, my experience as, like, American living in Taiwan, but at the same time, I kinda felt like it was kinda stifling my immersion, I guess, because I felt pretty immersed, like, around, but kinda, like, we would talk to each other in English, and I felt like that was kinda, like, the thing that, like, broke up my immersion, um, and it kinda, like I guess, like, it's possible to overcome this, but, like, having someone in your house that speaks English, like, kinda made it, I guess, harder for me to want to actively I had to want to actively speak in Chinese, so when I was tired, like, I could just talk in English if I wanted. Additionally, like, honestly, there is always the chance that you don't love your roommate, which was the case for me. We weren't the closest friends, so it's just definitely a gamble, I would say. But it's really depends on your situation.
Yeah, to add on to that, my host family situation was like an elderly couple. They were around 60, and they were actually have been doing like hosting for about like 15 years now, so like a really long time. But it was really just them and then me and my roommate in the house. And yes, it really depends on you for the roommate situation. I also had a roommate actually in the Chinese like Shanghai program. Not a lot of people had roommates because I think houses are generally a little smaller. Also really um but like like I really enjoyed having a roommate as I could like commute together to school and just like hang out together because for a lot of like to explore a city you have to have a buddy with you, so that was kind of nice. It was like you had someone next to you that could do it. But yeah, it also kind of broke up my immersion a little because we sometimes just spoke in English. But it was also kind of like because sometimes I would hang out I was not with it, or like I was not. It was kind of interesting, like having the kind of for me it was like having sometimes to pick between like maybe hanging out with my roommate who didn't really know my classmates or like hanging out with my roommate only. So it was kind of like a little yeah, a little thing about there. But yes, it really depends on you for the roommate situation and how comfortable you are.
Great. I think we're just about wrapping up. So, if you have any questions that we haven't talked about yet or anything you want more info on, make sure to put it in the chat. We'll wrap up in about 5 minutes. You can also find a lot of the information on our website. So, like I said before, that is ciee.org/HSSA to see all of our summer programs. We also do have some semester and academic year, gap year, and first year of college abroad programs. So if you're thinking about ways to find something even longer or more immersive, we also offer those. So that's a really cool thing to think about as well. We do have some more questions trickling in. Oh, cool. Yes. What university administers college credit? That would be Tulane University in Louisiana. And that would be, it's just a $250 fee. Again, that's optional. So if you don't want it, you don't have to do it. But that's a really good deal on 4 credit hours. With that rate, you would be able to do like a whole year of school for under like $3,000, depending on the credits you do. So lots and lots of benefits from that. Since it looks like we're just wrapping up on questions, alumni, any final words, anything that you wish you knew before doing the program, anything you want to make sure people know if they're on the fence between going abroad this summer or maybe staying at home?
I can answer first. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So, I think one thing that I would wish to know before I went to the program is to really make like a set of goals for yourself to do at the program there. Because even though 4 weeks does sound like a lot, and the CIE does seem to like already like guide you to like where you want to go, you do maybe want to maybe like you want to set a goal for yourself, maybe like be able to talk about your favorite like maybe your favorite hobbies, or maybe be able to like learn more about like Chinese culture, maybe like a specific part, or maybe just like get along with like make new friends. Like simple like goals like that will kind of help you um throughout this program, since it does get a little tiring maybe in the middle of it. But if you have like a goal to set yourself to just like kind of like go on this program like optimistically, then yeah, I'll recommend that.
Yeah, kind of adding on to that, like think about what you want to do before you get there. Like personally, I did some research on like I looked through a guidebook on like what like activities I kind of wanted to do, and then in my free time I could like better structure it so I could really like hit everything on my list. Additionally, I would say like one thing that I was kind of like I guess on this like fence about when I was like signing up for this program is I'm an athlete. I'm like I do a sport full year round and I like needed to stay in shape during the summer. And I was like one big question I had that kept, like, not getting answered, I guess, when I was applying is, like, how do you work out? How does, like, the gym facilities work? And that was probably, like, the one bad thing about my experience is I wasn't able to, like, find a gym facility to use. One of my friends who was in a different host family found had a gym in her apartment, so she was able to use that. I unfortunately wasn't, but, like, it was fine. It worked out. But, like, that is something, like, if that's a concern, like, that's just something to think about, like, stuff that you might do on, like, a daily basis, like, things that, like, you need to do to keep up with, I guess. Um, and then just generally, like, you should just do it. Like, if you're thinking about this, like, it's a really good experience. I was scared, but I'm really, really happy I did it, and I really don't have any regrets besides that I didn't get to try the Michelin-starred ice cream place. But, like, just do it. You won't have regrets. It'll be great.
Yes. Kind of have the same advice. Do your research before going there. It was definitely nice to already have like a list of like destinations I wanted to visit in my free time, so I could just like go straight instead of like having to plan a lot. And I guess on before going to the program, something I was on the fence about was the host family and homestay situation, because I was really not used to like being apart from my parents and family and having to stay like in something unfamiliar, someone like in an unfamiliar place for like a month. But I think it was really nice when that email was sent like a week before it, like, and I had when I actually got time to like communicate with my host mom for like a week before I went, so it felt more comfortable like when I asked her questions or got to know Shanghai a little bit more through her. Um I think that was really nice. I say like definitely like when that email is sent to you, make sure to like reply, get to know them before you go. And yeah, I would definitely recommend applying, because like it was definitely a like life-changing experience, because I actually wrote about this because I'm a senior this year. I actually wrote my personal statement on my study abroad experience, because it was like a really impactful thing that happened, like that was really close, like it was junior year scene. So yeah, I definitely recommend applying, because it's like people said, it's once in a lifetime experience, like really go for it.
Awesome. I think that brings us to the end. Thank you all so much for putting in the effort to make those slides and talk about your summer. I know it's always fun talking about studying abroad and where you get to go, but it is a little later, at least for me on the East Coast. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to talk about your summer and help get other people abroad, especially for our Mandarin language programs. People in the chat and participants, if you would like to connect with any of these alumni, you can always send us an email at hsabroad@ciee.org. Once again, that's hsabroad@ciee.org. You can also give us a call Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 866-583-0332. All of the info is on our website. And as a reminder, if you apply before December 1st, you'll be in our free flight raffle and our early decision round of awards. So if you have any other questions or need help with your application, you know where to reach us. Alumni, thank you very much one last time. I appreciate all your work on this. This was great.